In the political heart of Europe, behind the glass facade of the European Commission, decisions are made that ripple far beyond this continent. From this building, the EU administers the Generalised Scheme of Preferences Plus, or GSP Plus, a mechanism that grants developing countries privileged access to the European markets. The system's intended to promote human rights, labour protections, environmental responsibility and good governance in return for tariff-free trade benefits. Since 2014, Pakistan has been one of the scheme's principal beneficiaries, enjoying billions in export value to the EU each year. But has Pakistan actually upheld the commitments it made to earn that access? Or has Pakistan simply profited while turning away from the very standards the scheme was meant to reinforce? This film investigates what Europe has funded and what Pakistan has or has not delivered in return. At a side event here at the UN Human Rights Council in Geneva today, we've been hearing about the money that's being paid to Pakistan under the European Commission's GSP Plus status. And there are a lot of questions hanging over this. I'd like to ask you, first of all, Mr. Fiegel, as a former commissioner yourself, you probably have a much greater perspective on this issue than the rest of us. What is your position on this?
GSP Plus is very unique and strong instrument, which is usually devoted to least developed countries. Pakistan is in the group by far the largest nuclear power, very important and big state. And therefore it is important that GSP Plus is exemplary used for the benefit of Pakistani people, and also for the good name of European Union, who like to be or would love to serve as a protagonist of peace, human rights, dignity for all. And I think it should be adequately used now in time of review, because Pakistan has many examples of violation of this instrument or their commitments for the detriment of people. Especially I want to mention education for all, education which must and should be inclusive, empowering, combining quality and equality or fairness in education, in access to education. If we don't care, then we are part of the problem. If we care, I think difference is possible and will be visible.
The price of this partnership is not counted in euros but in human lives. Despite EU funding, Pakistan has actually seen deteriorating rights for women, for religious minorities and for civil society in general.
Yeah, in fact, that instrument was put in place about a decade ago, and it was meant to be a win-win operation. A win operation for the EU and one other win operation for Pakistan. We must say that Pakistan has benefited a lot from that instrument, because between the beginning and until last year, so a decade ago, during those 10 years, the production of Pakistan that has been exported to the European Union without any taxes, that's the main advantage for Pakistan, has jumped from 8.3 billion euros to almost 15 billion euros. So Pakistan has really received a lot from the European Union indirectly. On the other side, Pakistan had to abide by human rights international standards. And for example, they had to sign and ratify a number of conventions, about 27 of them, which they did, but they never implemented those, let's say, human rights in their issues that were the most crucial, such as freedom of religion or belief, equality between men and women, equality between boys and girls in schools. And year after year, we have not seen any progress in the reports of human rights in Pakistan. On the opposite, the situation has worsened a lot. And what is really scandalous from our point of view as human rights defenders is that implicitly the European Union, and more specifically the European Commission, accepts such a situation.
Twice already, the European Parliament has called for Pakistan's GSP Plus status to be suspended. Twice, the European Commission has completely ignored the will of Parliament.
2 years ago, the European Parliament adopted a resolution on the position of the Christian couple Sagufta and Safkat in Pakistan. They were on a death row because of blasphemy. And we know that so many people in Pakistan, Christian, Muslim and others, are in a death row because of blasphemy. And that's what we want to change in Pakistan. We have succeeded with Asia Bibi as the beginning, but it is not enough. We should continue our battle for freedom of religion or belief in Pakistan. And the European Union has a means to put pressure on Pakistan. It is the GSP Plus program, General Specialized Preferences. We give a lot of money to Pakistan indirectly because they do not have to pay for their textile and cotton products. It is for Pakistan a very important way to get their economy in a better order. And we should use this instrument to tell Pakistan, stop with blasphemy, stop by pushing people, stop by putting people in jail because of blasphemy. And that is the fight we must continue.
But the European Parliament has actually spoken out against this, hasn't it? And on 2 occasions has moved motions for suspension of Pakistan. And on both of those occasions, and these were interesting because this achieved almost unanimity in the Parliament, and it's not often that you will see every political group throwing itself behind a particular motion. But twice this happened. But the Commission completely ignored the will of Parliament. I mean, Mr. Fiegel, do you have a comment to make on that one? The Commission ignoring the will of Parliament, that cannot be right.
Executive should follow the will of people represented by elected parliamentarians. There is a new composition, also kind of new political hope, that the constructive criticism or expectations that Europe will walk the talk, Commission will follow its own commitments and duties, will prevail this year. In the summer this year there will be revision, vote in the Parliament but also in the Council, and I hope that for the benefit of people who suffer in Pakistan, and we can speak about many other countries, we should stand for values which are universal.
The EU provides millions to support education in Pakistan, but what happens when that support finds its way into extremist religious seminaries, the very institutions that are radicalising young children? One of the ways in which the European Union supports Pakistan is through its educational system. It puts a lot of money and resources into the educational system, which is very admirable. But there have been some questions asked about where this money is going. And I know, Mr. Royston, that you put in a question to the European Commission asking, can the Commission assure that money is not going to madrasas? A madrasa is a very extreme Islamist institution. And to put it into perspective, most of the leadership of the Taliban went through Pakistani madrasas. Now, the European Commission responded to you. It took a few weeks, but they got there. And they did say that EU funding is going to seminary institutions. That's madrasas, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's madrasas. So although they did not actually answer by saying, yes, we are supporting madrasas, I think that they very carefully and tried to word it delicately, but they not expose themselves to telling a mistruth. That's our taxes.
Yes.
Taxes are going to fund institutions which train terrorists.
You mean as taxpayers?
As taxpayers, because the European Commission doesn't give its own money away as taxes away. What can we do about this? What can we do to stop this?
The answer was indeed very disappointing. What the Commission said in essence was, yes, we give money to the schools, to the education system, but we are not responsible for the content. That's the opinion of the Commission. But I see a big risk indeed that, at least you can say in an indirect way, we are funding, we are subsidizing schools who teach to children, let's say, not to respect the other, but to hate the other. Supporting extremism and supporting discrimination. So yes, I have great concerns about that. I think that we have also to take that on board in the discussion about prolongation of GSP Plus status. And also, hopefully, we can also take that on board in the discussion about hopefully a new debate in the European Parliament, the plenary session, and the resolution.
In 2023, the European Commission addressed Pakistan's GSP Plus compliance and declared that it had raised awareness of human rights. But for human rights defenders, this was not a report. This was nothing more than a whitewash. Willie, the European External Action Service made an assessment of the implementation of GSP Plus by Pakistan at the end of November 2023. Their assessment was slightly different to that of Human Rights Without Frontiers, wasn't it? What's your insight?
Well, in fact, there was such an assessment, but it's a big joke because it was not done by a third party. It was done by the European Commission itself, being judge and party. So how can you be neutral in such a context? And, well, this is really the place where all the decisions are taken about the implementation, or I would say the non-implementation by Pakistan of the promises that had made to respect human rights and promote human rights and develop human rights. But in fact, you see, all the chains of the decision process is influenced by that philosophy that the country there, Pakistan, should not be disturbed. Why? It's not really clear. But when you see the EU ambassador in Pakistan saying about the assessment of the European Commission concerning the GSP Plus implementation, she said, and I will quote her, the GSP Plus incentive had undeniably increased awareness of human rights at the grassroots levels. It's not a matter of assessment, it's not a matter of awareness raising, it's a matter of action.
As well as the calls to suspend Pakistan's GSP Plus status, in the UK there's now a lot of discussion about possible suspension of Pakistan from the Commonwealth of Nations for those same reasons that the European Parliament is calling for suspension of GSP Plus. Mr. Fiegel, if you were standing in front of the House of Lords or the House of Commons now on this issue, Pakistan's possible suspension from the Commonwealth, what would your advice to those British politicians be?
Truth sets us free. We need to know the truth, facts on the spot, on the place, and then defend the truth, including human dignity of all. If country blatantly violates what is fundamental, what is important for more humane 21st century, it should not sit at the same table. It can come back with improvements, with important changes. This is possible. I think lessons should be learned. 20th century was the most inhuman because many states or governments failed or didn't care. Now we should learn, and actually our responsibility is here and now, including the Commonwealth of Nations. My message is serve the truth, serve justice, and you will be rewarded.
In a matter of months, the European Commission will decide whether or not to extend Pakistan's GSP Plus status. But after a decade of broken promises, is it time actually for this partnership to end? This is not just a question of tariffs and trade. This is a question of integrity and Europe's moral responsibility. And let's also ask, should Pakistan continue to enjoy membership of the Commonwealth of Nations? Pakistan has been suspended twice from the Commonwealth of Nations over its human rights abuses. This is now being discussed in the UK as well. Should Pakistan be suspended a third time, or should it be 3 strikes and you're out?